Emily from Standish-Jones Building Supply in Gasport, New York, and Spalding Ace Hardware in Lockport, New York. Today I'm going to show you how to finish our Milky Way photo frame that we started in the previous video. In the previous video we talked about unicorn spit paint and how to make the galaxy effect, but today we're going to talk about the pour-on high gloss finish and how to make a nice glassy finish on your photo frame. This finishing product can also be used on tabletops, coasters, coffee tables, and anything that you really want to protect from, heat or water. It's cures in about 72 hours. For this project, you will need the Envirotex Light Pour-On Kit. You'll need a disposable measuring cup, several disposable cups, a couple of stirrers. I just have some plastic knives to use, masking tape, and you might also want some gloves and paper towels handy. Before you begin your project, you might want to take out the instruction manual that comes with the Envirotex Pour-On Kit and read that pretty thoroughly. There's lots of specific detailed instructions that they provide there that I won't be providing today. Before you begin, you'll want to take your 2 parts of epoxy and resin and give them a nice soak in some warm water. This is because this product is ideally applied at 75 degrees Fahrenheit. If you put it on too cold or too hot, you run the risk of a cloudy finish or a yellow finish. Okay, so before we do anything else, we're going to flip over the photo frame and tape off the metal prongs that hold the photo in place. This is because the epoxy, once it hardens, there's really no getting it off. You can sand it off a little bit, but this just protects your photo frame, like so. Next, you'll take 4 paper cups, just set them in a rectangle. Make sure that your surface you're working on is protected with lots of newspaper and cardboard and even a plastic drop cloth, because there's going to be a lot of runoff once we start this project, and you don't want to get this resin onto any of your work tables. So lay your photo frame on top of the paper cups. This just elevates it so that all the extra resin can run right off. Creates a nice smooth finish for you. Okay, next we're going to put on some gloves. This stuff's kind of sticky, but it's not too hard to work with. Okay, now for these 2 parts we have the resin, which is a kind of a clearish, and then you have the hardener, which is kind of a yellowish looking product. Whatever you do, you want to make sure you mix those together equal parts, 50-50. So 1 part resin, 1 part hardener. So I'm going to use my measuring cup. I'm going to do half a cup of the resin. And then I'm going to add another half a cup of the hardener so that it will give me 1 cup total. All right. Then using a throwaway stirrer, just want to stir that really good for 2 minutes. Make sure that you scrape the bottom and sides of the measuring cup while you do this. Okay, now we've been stirring our 2 parts for 2 minutes. We're going to pour it into a new container and use a new stir stick and stir that for 1 minute. As soon as you're done stirring that for 1 minute, immediately pour it onto your project. Drizzle it all over the frame. It will naturally start to run over the edges, which is good. We're looking for a nice even coverage. And you can use your knife or spreader to kind of just gently push the epoxy resin over the edges so that you're getting a total coverage. That will continue to drip for a couple of hours. Right away you'll see lots and lots of little air bubbles come to the surface of this resin. What you need to do is just breathe gently on it. The carbon dioxide in your breath is what actually pops the bubbles. This is a good reason why you want to make sure you're working in a well-ventilated area so you don't hyperventilate. Continue to do that until you see a nice smooth finish. Wait about 15 minutes and come back and do the same again, because you might see some more air bubbles coming to the surface. This will take about 24 hours to dry to the touch. Make sure that you're leaving it in a warm, dust-free area to dry so you don't get any dust or stray hairs on your finish. And then it'll be fully cured in 72 hours. Again, my name is Emily from Standish-Jones Building Supply in Gasport, New York, and Spalding Ace Hardware in Lockport, New York. This was a video on how to use the Envirotex Light Epoxy High Gloss finish. I hope you enjoyed my instructions. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And remember to subscribe and give us a follow on Facebook as well.